what are you so excited about?
I just launched Philly Spycraft Mission.
And what is Philly Spycraft Mission?
Okay, so it's really crazy and special, and I finally have a pretty thorough way to describe it. So here we go. Philly Spycraft Mission is a cooperative outdoor puzzle adventure with escape room elements and real-time immersive narrative, which is a mouthful, so let me break that down. It's cooperative because your whole group will be working together. It's outdoor, meaning you'll be outside discovering secrets hidden in the public space. It's a puzzle, so there are some things you have to solve and figure out. It's an adventure.
I'm just going to cut in here and say I just looked up the definition of adventure, and it's an unusual and exciting experience or activity, or a daring and exciting activity calling for enterprise and enthusiasm. And that is honestly spot on for what Philly Spycraft Mission is.
Escape room elements. In its entirety, I wouldn't call this an escape game, but parts of it definitely have similar mechanics to an escape room style experience. Narrative, this experience is driven by an underlying story, and that story is immersive, meaning that you become a part of the story and you help tell it. And it's real time because the pacing of the story is responsive to your actions. So there you have it. Philly Spycraft Mission is a cooperative outdoor puzzle adventure with escape room elements and real-time immersive narrative. And bookings are open!
Where did the idea for Philly Spycraft Mission come from?
I guess I'm really a fan of the spy genre. I love the TV shows Burn Notice and Chuck, and Mission Impossible and Bourne movies. I guess Jason Bourne isn't really so much a spy as he is an assassin, but it still has that same sense of, highly trained, special skills, pursuing or being pursued sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a fun genre, and I thought it would be fun to design an immersive spy adventure built into the real world.
What's your favorite part of Philly Spycraft Mission?
Well, obviously I can't really say too much about it without spoiling it. But my favorite part is probably this idea that I had really early on in the design process. I wasn't even sure I could really pull it off, but I did, and I think it generates a really amazing moment during the experience. But there are so many moments, there's so many wow moments where you get to discover something or piece something together, and I'm just really happy with how the whole thing turned out. So thank God, because I put so much time into it.
What was the hardest part about designing Philly Spycraft Mission?
Probably developing the story, because that's newer to me. I can kind of build a puzzle around almost anything, but with this, the narrative really had to come first. And I wanted it to be a fun story and exciting and make you feel like you're on a spy mission, but also it needs to be internally consistent and logical and somewhat conceivable. So that was tough, putting all that together and kind of building the experience around the narrative and then making it all make sense with the more puzzly parts. That was probably the hardest part for me.
What is an immersive experience?
So here's my definition. An immersive experience is an event or activity that integrates the actions of participants into the fictional environment in which it takes place, usually by bending their perceptions of what is real and what is part of the experience. The most interesting aspect of this is the idea of boundaries. So normal games have clear boundaries. This is the board, these are the pieces, this is the goal. But one of the hallmarks of an immersive experience is obscuring the boundaries between what is in-game and what is out of game. And that's actually integral to creating an exhilarating escapade for you, because when you don't know what's part of the experience, it opens up the possibility that anything could be part of the experience. And that creates a lot of excitement. But hiding the boundaries of the experience is kind of a double-edged sword, because they are still there, and if a player breaches them, that interrupts their immersion, because it forces the designer of the experience to step out of the shadows in order to sort of keep things from going off the rails. But there's always ways to put some guardrails in place, and I've definitely done that with Philly Spycraft Mission. So it's immersive, but it's not open world.
When you're doing Philly Spycraft Mission, what does it actually feel like? How does it work?
So it's what I call a bookable experience. You can think of it kind of like booking an escape room. You go to my website, you choose the day and time you want to do it, and then you just show up with your team at that time. And it's always just your group during your time slot. There's no randos that are going to be doing it with you. So then a few days before your mission, you'll get an email that gives you sort of the lay of the land, introduces you to what's going on, and then when you show up at the time that you chose at the appointed location, you'll receive a field kit and a mission briefing that sort of gets you started on your adventure. And so you'll all be working together on your spy mission, walking around a beautiful neighborhood and exploring streets you probably haven't been down before, and that's about it.